Welcome, everybody, to the latest edition of Pinfalls. This is Pinfalls Money in the Bank. I, of course, am John of JohnGSpeed.com and the Everyday Fan. Joining me, as always, who else but Tommy Else? How are you, Tommy?
I'm good, John. How you doing?
I am good. Let's get this out of the way right now before I have to swallow more pain. You are ahead of me this year by a whopping 4 wins. You are 24-6. I am 20-10. Still a very respectable record I have, but you've got a better.
Now, last year I won the year by what, two?
Well, I've got that all too. Overall, you are now overall you have now taken the lead by 2 wins over the last 2+ years. I beat you in 2021. You beat me in 2022, and you are thrashing me this year by 4 to give you a 2-win lead in the lifetime stats.
Okay.
Which you
I
don't care
think
about the lifetime stats. That's all you've ever preached.
no, I care about this year. I care
Well,
about
you're
the
up by
present
4.
now. I care about the here and now. Your
Well,
past is your past, and you're only as good as your latest prediction.
well,
So,
your latest prediction, I think you were perfect on the last on the last pay-per-view.
I think I did it. I think I called it all the way.
It's
But
tough for me to
and
go
but
5 and go ahead.
But in all fairness, it was a very predictable pay-per-view though too. So, I
Well,
mean,
it's tough for me to go 5-2 and still lose ground to you. That's what hurts. But if we're talking about predictability, I think this Money in the Bank is going to be the complete opposite. I think there's a lot of stuff here. There's a couple I
this
think
is
that
a
are
tougher
pretty.
one.
There are a couple I think that are gimmies, but I think a lot
Yeah,
of it is going to be interesting. You ready to jump in?
I am. I am. Let's hit it. Okay.
All right. So first up, we have the men's Money in the Bank match featuring Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura. I actually almost pronounced that right. Butch.
It's Shinsuke, buddy.
I
It's
said I
Shin.
almost. L.A. Knight, Santos Escobar, Damian Priest, and Logan Paul. Who do you got? This one could go anyway.
This one is a very tough one, and I had a very hard pick for this one, and that was Damian Priest. I mean, I was all in Damian Priest 100%. I'm a really big fan of LA Knight, but it's early for him to be winning the Money in the Bank. There's nowhere to go with Ricochet, and Escobar's got enough going on. He's got Rey Mysterio helping him out. He's in the LWO. He doesn't need it all. It would be a big power push for Judgment Day if they had not only a women's champion, but then had a Money in the Bank contender. So, uh, but then they threw in Logan Paul, and Logan Paul just makes me nervous because I can easily see them giving this briefcase to Logan Paul. And I can also see something happening where he doesn't win it, but it sparks a storyline with somebody else, and then he ends up in something with them. Um, I am going to stick with my initial gut feeling, and I'm going to go with Damian Priest. I think even with Logan Paul, it would just mean much more to bolstering the Judgment Day if Priest wins.
Well, we're going to start off with one different already.
All right.
I immediately wiped out a bunch of them just because I don't want to say Nakamura's name again. So I wiped him out just based on laziness. I think it's going to come down to Logan Paul and L.A. Knight. And I think that
Oh,
could be the feud sparked going forward. I think L.A. Knight's getting a nice big push. I think his push is going to continue. I think he will walk away with the Money in the Bank briefcase, and then we'll have some. And I like how they could challenge for any title. Why would they? Why would they challenge
why
for?
wouldn't you go for the heavyweight championship? Like, yeah, because leading up to it on Raw and SmackDown, you'll see like the IC champ or somebody go up to the someone and be like, if you do win it, you don't you come after my title or something like that. And it's like nobody's worried about your title, buddy. If you're gonna do it, if you
Right.
have your if you have your choice and you understand the way that pro wrestling works, you would go for the heavyweight championship. It's like why wouldn't you? So but yeah, I mean I'm an LA Knight fan, man. I mean, I just feel like it's still I mean, he is on fire. He is doing well. But I think getting him like he needs a title. He could be, you know, a US champion or something like that. But I don't know that Money in the Bank is I think that's a little big for him right now. So
Well, that's his route to the title.
to the US title because he's not going to get they're not going to put the heavyweight championship on him
No, but
anytime soon.
maybe that's part of the stipulation of why they reduce the or increase, I guess, the potential titles he can go for. Maybe he will go for a U.S. title. Somebody will
Well,
irritate him enough where he'll go for that and forget the chase for the main gold, which is just dumb, but it can
well,
happen.
then that makes him look like an idiot. So I hope that doesn't
Well, the
happen.
whole fact that they have a second tier title allowed, and then the fact that they created another title because Roman Reigns is so great that Cody can't win that title, like
Oh
none of
well,
this makes sense.
nothing's impossible. That's for sure. So all right, let's move on to the next one.
So at least we already have a one
So we got
disagreement.
one on the line. Yeah.
All
All
right,
right.
so I can catch up one now. Okay, so next we have the women's Money in the Bank match featuring Zelina Vega, Becky Lynch. Have I mentioned I like Becky Lynch? Zoe Stark, Io Sky, Trish Stratus, and Bailey. Who you got?
I'm going with the Yo Sky. uh, I think I think that it's a good catapult for her. She's due to win something. Um, Bailey is as long as she's been leader of damage control, still hasn't gotten a title of any type. And you know, anytime you have one of these matches where you know they say it's every man for themselves, but obviously these two will work together throughout the match. You know, I can easily see it coming down between the two of them. And the bigger pop from the crowd is going to be for Io Sky, and then it also creates possible tumult in the
Good word.
damage damage control world because you know, again, Bailey's supposed to be the leader, and if Io's chasing after the women's championship, then that could be a problem and cause a divide. And if you take it one step further, you could have it where Io is going in for the cash in, and Bailey comes out and screws her out of it somehow. So she doesn't win the title, but then now you've got the feud between Bailey and Io. So there you go.
So you're taking Io,
Yes.
but you mentioned the possibility of Bailey screwing Io out of the Money in the Bank.
No, I'm saying when she goes to cash in
When she goes
the
cash in,
money.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I looked at this and I immediately ruled out Trish and Becky. Although I think Becky would be great as the holding the briefcase. I think that could be a lot of fun stuff. But they got their feud going. It's set up for a really nice feud, and I can't wait to see that thing play out. So that would only detract from that. The other one, Zoe Stark, Zelina Vega. I mean, no offense to either
Well,
one.
Zoe's tied into the whole Becky Lynch Trish Stratus
Yeah,
story. So that right there, you know, if any of them won the Money in the Bank, it would veer them off the path of the storyline that they're on. So like they're three that you can cut out real easily, you know.
exactly.
So then Zelina Vega, I mean Zelina Vega would be like the dark horse. I mean,
Right.
I've if it's not Io, it's Zelina. But
Well,
I
I know.
mean,
I think if it's not Io, it'll be Bailey, but I think it's going to be Io.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm with you. I think it's going to be Io, but I'm if we'll see if it doesn't. We'll our secondary guesses if we'll have Bailey versus Zelina then.
Ooh,
So
I like this. So would
yeah,
that be
since
worth like
we
half a point? All right. So moving right along, we got Cody Rhodes versus Dominik Mysterio.
see this is a tricky one too. I mean, certainly on paper, there's every reason for Cody Rhodes to just you know wipe the walls with poor Dom Dom, but
Dom Dom.
that's what that's what Rhea calls him.
Well, I know Rhea does. I didn't know if you did.
Well, It's funny, my buddy Jeff calls him Dum Dum.
Nah, I could see that. You better be careful though, because Dom got tough in that prison stay.
Yeah, yeah, it was what, 12 hours he was in there, county
12 tough
jail.
hours.
Yeah, I mean, um, it's I'm gonna go with Dominik on this because I think that Cody, and it's gotta have it involve some sort of interference or something, obviously. I mean, it's certainly not going to be a clean win, uh but I think that for him to go in and just get clobbered, I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one because the thing is wrestling is rarely based on like logic when it comes to the storylines. Like logic doesn't always play into it. Logically, I mean, like I said, Cody Rhodes should just, even with his hand in a cast, should be able to take out Dominik Mysterio. But when you're in a faction like the Judgment Day, it is a very big X factor, and it's like anything could happen. So at a certain point, you're almost at a coin flip for what's going to go. But I think that the more intriguing outcome would be for Dominik to somehow pull off the win. So I'm going to go with him.
Well, that's interesting because I had Cody winning this all the way. It was when I first looked at the card. I always go with which one I think is most predictable and then go down to the hardest. This one I immediately wrote off as Cody's got this. There's no question. Otherwise, it'll derail his
Right.
travel towards the title. But then I started thinking about it. When I went back to it, I went, well, derail his quest for the title. The next one he's got to face, he's got to go back to Brock at some point, and he's got to beat Brock. So I see Brock interfering in this, costing him the win. I have heard Brock is actually potentially there already or heading there. So you mentioned the Judgment Day interfering on behalf of Dominik, which could very well happen. But I also think the other X factor is the Brock factor, and I think Brock is going to cost him the win. Either way,
I think Brock's the more likely on account of the fact that the rest of the Judgment Day are kind of busy that night. Like they all have big matches. So,
but it doesn't preclude them from interfering anyway.
No, depending on what point in the night the matches and stuff like that. I mean, like Balor's not going on until last, I'd imagine, or second to last probably. I'm sure that they'll probably start it with the men's Money in the Bank. Well, one of the Money in the Banks, but no, I think you're right. The Brock thing it just feels a little predictable, but at the same time, they have been known for predictability sometimes. So
well, and it does give more angst, for lack of a better term, to the feud. It gives more fuel to it.
It's fuel to the fire, yeah, for Cody and Brock for sure.
Which then sets up the next pay-per-view, Cody's revenge, and it builds him more towards the title. So we still only have one difference. This one is going to be interesting too. We have the Intercontinental Championship. Gunther defending against Matt Riddle. Now he's Matt Riddle. He's no longer just Riddle.
I'm okay with that.
I'm not okay with him, period, but okay.
He's still the original bro. Master of the bro Derek. Which I love.
I won't give him a 10, I'll tell you that.
I love that name, the bro Derek. I mean, and it's such an obscure, for like the generation watching.
Yeah, it's only about 42 years ago that
like the younger kids, they have no idea who Bo Derek was, but anyway, this one is one of the easier ones for me, to be honest, and I'm going with Gunther. He's just he's got too much of a role going. I mean, they've got it. The only good thing with this one is that there has been a decent storyline leading up to it. There has been feuding between Riddle and Imperium and Gunther, for a while now. So this match at least has a little more meaning, than a lot of other ones do. So, but even with that, I think they're real big on Gunther in the office, and I think that if he's going to lose the title, they're going to really make a real spectacle of it. And I don't know that, as much as I love him, that Riddle is the one that's going to be able to deliver that type of moment. So I'm going with Gunther and his boys.
Well, I'm also going with Gunther, and not just because I'm not a big fan of Riddle. I Riddle actually I think is going to have a good match. I think they're going to put on a really
Oh, I
good,
think it'll be a great match. Yeah.
and I think they'll both get the rub from this match. I think it's gonna elevate both of them. Um, I would like to see Riddle come out and actually just be, a terror instead of just a freaking goofball. I was so
He's been better about that though
He's been
lately. I
better,
mean,
but he's still a knucklehead.
like,
So
well,
I'm
that's
willing to
part of the
change my
fun.
mind if it's out
That's
there.
part of the
Riddle, if you
fun. That's
change
part
up,
of the fun of him. I
you know,
mean, he's when he gets in the ring and he's wrestling. I mean, like, and especially with his feud with Imperium. I mean, like, he's been serious. Now he may dance down to the ring and kick his flip flops off when he gets there, but then as soon as the bell rings, I mean, he's in and he's on and he's not goofing around. And that's what I like. So
I wasn't a
he
fan
could
of
he.
Bushwhackers. I'm not a fan of Riddle. If you want to impress me, get serious.
Well, I'm sure he's that's a priority. It's probably up on his vision board. Impress John Robleski. So
It should be. It should be top five. All
yeah,
right. Let's move on to the Women's Tag Team Championship. We got champions Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler defending against Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan.
yeah. Um, I love Rodriguez. Very big fan of Rodriguez. Um, I've been just waning on Liv Morgan. Like, she's becoming less and less interesting to me as time goes on. And they had held the championships. Liv got injured. They were forced to relinquish them. Then they had a tournament, and then they had Baszler and Rousey ended up winning the titles. So it's the tag team that never lost their titles coming back to try to regain them. That old story. Uh, However, I think that in spite of what happened with Liv and her injury, Baszler and Rousey were going to end up with those championships very soon, regardless. So I don't think they're planning on taking them off of them. I think this is just an easy match to throw on the card. Give them their rematch. Take care of that business, and then Baszler and Rousey can go forth and with their tag team title reign. So going with them.
I agree. I think this is setting up Ronda Rousey and Shayna to be dominant for a while. I think it's kind of the redemption of both, actually. Ronda, since she's been back, has been underwhelming. Baszler, she's kind of treading water. So I think they're in for a lengthy title run. I like Rodriguez and I like Morgan. I think they have a good tag team, but I don't think they're going to take the title, at least not
I
here.
never I just never really felt like they were. I don't know. I didn't feel
Gel.
like they. Yeah, I just they had some good duo moves. And that's one thing I like to see is like because Rodriguez is like 6 feet tall and Morgan's 5. Like Rodriguez would take Liv and like launch her at people and stuff like that. And I like when tag teams do that. So I respect that. I like when they find things that are unique to the chemistry of the two of them that only those two could do with each other and then make moves and stuff out of them. So I respect that, but beyond that, like their personalities were just very different and not in like a odd couple way. It was just like more of an awkward type. It just seemed forced, I
I
guess.
do agree with that. It does seem like a thrown together team, like a mongrel team, and I'm not in favor of those.
Right.
Then again, Shayna Baszler and Ronda were thrown together.
Yeah, but that made sense. That was something that people were talking about years and years ago.
True.
But you mean you can have like odd couple tag teams that end up becoming, I mean, like Gold Dust and Booker T were one of my favorites. Like that was a great,
Yeah.
that was the whole lead up to it, them finally becoming a tag team, them getting all the way to the titles and everything, all the various stories along the way. But yeah, two completely different guys, but it worked well off of each other because of it. This is just like, they're just subtle personality differences that are just like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they are friends in real life, they're not showing it much on TV. So
Like the Rock and Sock connection was another odd, but it worked.
right, but it worked. Yeah,
Well, then
it's like
so
you need something further. Like they got to be real black and white to to oppose each other personality wise for that magic to happen. And this is just too like in the gray area with the two of them. So in my opinion, I don't know, but
could you and I be a good tag team then?
honestly, I think we could be a good tag team.
Wow. Wow.
I no, I do. I think I think we would be an entertaining tag team. I would say that much. I mean, I don't think we would be doing any gymnastics out there, but I think we could come up with a few moves that were specific to us and our style.
The
So yeah,
beatdown or else.
well, I'll be
Power
in
and
charge.
glory.
No, I'll be in charge of naming
Oh,
things
yeah.
because the
Yeah.
world's not ready for your suggestions.
All
All
right,
right.
let's move along to something people are ready for. How about the World Heavyweight Championship, with Seth freaking Rollins, still hate that, defending against Finn Balor. I love Seth Rollins. Don't get me wrong. You know that this
Yeah, no,
sports freaking thing.
it's the forced freaking thing. Yeah, I don't I to it's fine, put it on t-shirts, things like that, but to announce him all the time
I
and
don't need to
have
hear it seven
everybody
times during the match.
right. So anyway, this is a tougher one to call than you would think. I mean, Seth did just get the title, and he's defended it a couple times already, but this is his first, I think, real pay-per-view title defense. And I'll say Balor's done a really great job of selling himself as a strong, possibility to win it. He kind of has nothing to lose. I mean, like he's just very hungry. I think he feels like he's losing control a little bit of the Judgment Day, and I think if he were to get the title, that would pull it back together. Um, Now, this also kind of throws us into a similar situation as we were talking about with Io and Bailey, because if for some reason my prediction is correct and Damian Priest gets the money in the bank and Finn was to win the title, now you have an issue inside of Judgment Day,
Oh, I
which is
like
a
how
good,
the interlaced like that. That's interesting.
yeah, yeah, which is a very compelling storyline to have, even more so than Seth Rollins being the champion. Seth's a great champion, and I think Seth could be the champion straight through SummerSlam into Survivor Series or whatever. But at the same time, I think that they brought this title out because basically people were tired of having the same champion all the time with Roman Reigns. Um, and if you just give Seth Rollins a title and now he's going to have it for the next 6 to 8 months, it's just kind of the same thing. I think they want to, there was the time when, someone would win the title on Sunday night at a pay per view and then someone else would win it on a Monday night. So, and it's been a long time since they've done that stuff. So I mean, like I'm going down a very specific rabbit hole with this whole thing, but I think I'm going to actually go with Balor on this. I think they want to shake things up and make it exciting. They're going to be in London, which not that I mean he's not from London, but they're across the pond. They're across the pond. You know, I don't know, but I'm going to actually go with Balor. Yeah.
Well, for the third time today, we disagree. I like
All
everything
right.
you said. I can't disagree with most of your logic there. But I do think that they want Seth to hold the title for a while. I think this title needs to be held for a little while to give it credibility, to give it something. Because otherwise, it's just, well, you know, we couldn't strip the title off of Roman, so here's the title, and then you guys could just take turns with it. I don't know what that does for the title. I don't know what that does for any of the wrestlers. But if Seth holds it for a while and makes it a prestigious title, makes it something that people really want to go for, then I think you got something going there. And maybe it's only another pay-per-view. I don't know. But I don't see Finn, and he's done great work. I agree. But I don't see Finn taking the title off him yet.
It's like I said, it's a tougher one to call. It's not as black and white as some of them are. Um, I I I'm not saying that like it's going to get on Finn and then he's got it for 3 months and then they put it on someone else and then they're going to just play musical chairs with it. But I'm just saying, like, when you bring out a title like that and you're going to be the first ever to hold that title, so to speak, I think they wanted to give that honor to Seth because he was embodying the spirit behind it of,
Agreed.
you know, so I mean, so I understand what you're saying, and Finn doesn't. The problem with Finn is that he's not the type who would want to put the title on the line all the time, you know, like Rollins would. So I hear what you're saying, but I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna roll the dice on this one. I'm
Well,
just you never know.
that's fine.
So
We've got three different. This is exciting. We got the last match coming up, and this can go either way too. We have Roman Reigns and
Solo Sokoa versus Jimmy and Jay Uso.
we just interviewed LA Smooth.
Yes, of the Anoa'i Samoan dynasty.
Notice I let you say the name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put that on the John Jarrell's podcast.
So this one, yeah, this is another one that's really almost just a coin flip because on paper, the Usos are by far and away a far more experienced tag team. You know, they're a solid tag team with each other. They've tagged with each other for like 15 years. Reigns and Solo, I mean, what, maybe once they've had a tag match, you know. I mean, plus Reigns just doesn't work tag matches in general. You know, when was the last time you saw Reigns in a tag match?
Correct.
So on that, logically, I would go with the Usos. But the bloodline storyline is ever changing and it's complicated. And they could find a good reason to somehow have Reigns and Solo win. Maybe Reigns brings in someone else as part of the bloodline now to replace them, you know. I mean, even Nia Jax could be, you know, she's part of it. You know, they could pull her, they could pull someone else, maybe you know, I don't know.
Is The Rock's daughter ready to come? Well,
She's no, and she's got stuff going on in NXT right now. So
for a one-off?
Uh, I don't think it would be in her best interest to do a one-off in that way. Like if they're going to bring her in, they're going to bring her in.
Okay.
She ain't going to just come out and help and then put her back down in the NXT. I mean, and honestly, like for her to be like the X factor that somehow,
That's
I
true.
mean,
You're right.
I don't know that she's has that yet. But because it's a coin flip at this point, in my opinion, I'm just going to go with logic, and I'm going to go with the Usos.
Well, nobody ever accused me of being logical, so I'm going with Roman and Solo. I think
Okay.
for the bloodline feud to continue, I think they need to win, and then of course, then the Usos got to get it back and blah blah. I think if they lose, then the whole thing really is falling apart. What else? What does Roman have then? Unless, of course, it sets up something the next pay per view, or then he brings somebody else in, which is certainly possible. But I don't see that happening. I see Roman and Solo taking this fairly decisively, which then will continue the feud, continue the whole bloodline storyline down the line.
Okay. Well, again, that makes perfect sense too. I just I don't know.
That's why I like this pay per view. There's not just because we end up with different predictions, but because there really are a lot of scenarios that could come
Right.
from a lot of different wins.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the ripple effect from a lot of these matches could be pretty could reach pretty far. So yeah, this is yeah, it is going to be one of the more interesting pay-per-views to check out. So
We'll see, man. We got 4 different out of the 7 matches. That
you
could.
could you if you go on a streak here, you could catch up in one pay-per-view, be
Well,
tied up.
the sad thing is, if we go 2-2, then we just break even. I'd have to go 3-1 really to make a difference.
Yeah, but if you got all four right, then you'd be tied up, and we'd be it's at zero then.
Continues the storyline.
There you go.
But the Money in the Bank is Saturday. As you so aptly, correctly put, it's 3 p.m. Central Time on the Peacock Network. Recaps will be on the Everyday Fan Sports either Sunday or Monday. Check that out. Check and see how Tommy and I did. I'm sure I'll win. But Tommy will have 3 right, right? Three, and you'll be 3 and 4. Yeah.
Thanks for having me, John. It's been a pleasure as
Any
always.
final thoughts?
Um, enjoy the show.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. This has been Pinfalls Money in the Bank.